Hello, and welcome into the Oasis Solutions Group presentation for Affordable Care Act reporting. Today we'll be talking about Part 4, the ACA Employee Maintenance Screens in Sage 100. Please note that Oasis Solutions Group is not in the business of providing tax advice. Our presentation is merely to educate our users on the features and functionality of Sage 100 ERP that provide the ability for our users to complete Forms 1094 and 1095 for reporting. We do advise that if you have specific tax or legal questions, that you consult with your professional tax provider or your attorney as appropriate. Today we're focusing on the ACA Employee Maintenance Screens. These screens will be used to provide the information that will appear on your 1095-C form. So in Part 2 of our presentation, we discussed that you can use the ACA Applicable Large Employer Report to determine if you need to file. So if you've determined that you are an AL, an Applicable Large Employer, and need to file the 1095 and the 1094 forms, you would need to input your information on your employees via the ACA Employee Maintenance Screens. So the information here is used to report your offer of coverage and the health care coverage information for your employees. If you provide self-insured coverage, there is also a way to track the additional covered individuals on your plan. To navigate to the ACA Employee Maintenance Screens, there are two ways that you can get there. Please remember that we discussed in Part 1 that you do have to allow the security through role maintenance to get to these screens, but there are two ways to get to the ACA Employee Maintenance Screen. The first one is to navigate to the Payroll module, the ACA folder, then select the ACA Employee Maintenance. The other way to get to the exact same screen is to go through Payroll, Main, Employee Maintenance, select your employee, and then there is the ACA button on the Employee Maintenance screen that will take you to the ACA Employee Maintenance screen. Once you select that, you will be provided the ACA Employee Maintenance screen. And on this screen you see the employee information, and at the bottom there are two additional checkboxes. The top one is the 1095 electronic consent signed box. Note that that field is grayed out. You cannot select that box from the ACA Employee Maintenance window. You must select that from the tax status window in your employee maintenance in payroll. The other checkbox at the bottom is to designate if you are a self-insured coverage provider. So if you are, you would enable that box. Once you do that, it then allows the Covered Individuals button to become enabled, and you can go there. So on the ACA Employee Maintenance screen, at the top right corner, there is a Monthly Detail button. Once you select that, you will be directed to a screen that you can input the information regarding the offer of coverage for the employee. The first column of information on your offer of coverage monthly detail box is the actual offer of coverage. And when you click in the field for the offer of coverage, you will then be provided with a lookup window, and it provides you the listing of the codes that you can select from regarding the offer of coverage that you have offered to this employee for that month. The next column is the employee share of lowest cost. So is the employee's share of the lowest cost monthly premium for self-only minimal essential coverage that provides the minimum value that is offered to that employee. So if your employee selects family coverage, Again, you are only putting the self-only premium that they would be contributing for the minimal essential coverage that you have offered to them. You would enter the amount, including cents. If the employee is not required to contribute toward the premium of self-only minimum essential coverage, then you would enter 0.00. The last column is the applicable Section 4980H Safe Harbor codes. Essentially, this column is your reason why you should not be assessed a penalty for this employee. Once you click on the drop-down button there for the codes, you're provided the list of codes that you can select. If you have offered your employee coverage and they have selected it, then 2C is the option that you would select there. Of course, if they are not full-time or were not employed during that particular month, there are codes for that as well as other codes that may be applicable for your situation. Once you have filled in the line, you have the ability, Sage provides the ability to copy that information down quickly by providing the button there to copy 2 remaining rows. So you can click on the button, or if you're a keyboard person, you can use the Alt-M hotkey combination to copy them down, and it will copy that line that you were on to the remaining rows of the screen. So if you were on January, it would copy down the information through the remainder of the year. Let's say in July you had a plan change and you needed to update the information starting in July. You could update the row for July, click the button, and it would then copy the information down from August through December. Keep in mind that you would need to make sure that you are updating this information monthly. So if someone is new to your company, of course you would have to input the information from the previous months and then starting when they became employed by you, or maybe you have an employee that has left, or at some point in time if the coverage changes. Just note that you would need to make sure that you are updating the employee screens accordingly. If you provide self-insured coverage to your employees, on the ACA employee maintenance screen, at the bottom is the self-insured coverage checkbox. Once you do that, the covered individuals button becomes enabled, and when you click on that, then you are taken to the covered individuals screen. In the first column is the covered individual's name. So if it's a spouse or dependent, you would put their name and then enter their Social Security number. In the event that there is no Social Security number for that individual, you would indicate their date of birth. Instances of that may be a newborn child. If you select the Covered All Months checkbox, it will then check all boxes for each month. If they were not covered for all months of the year, you would check the box for each month where there was coverage for that individual for at least one day out of that month. Next in our ACA webinar series is printing Forms 1094 and 1095. We will talk about the forms that you need to buy and how you print them. Here we have provided links for you if you need to research and get more information about the Affordable Care Act. There is the link for the Affordable Care Act provisions, the link for the Information Center for applicable large employers, and also the 8 things ALES should know about reporting and offers of coverage. For additional questions or to schedule update installation or additional assistance, please contact Oasis Support. The phone number here is 502-429-7600. 6902 extension 227, or you can reach us via email at techsupport@oasisky.com. We thank you for viewing.